Hey everyone, this is Leski here, back with another FIFA 21 Pro Club player build for you guys today. And in this video, we have for you a new center mid build, which was requested in the comments by a few viewers. One of the viewers wanted a tall center mid that was good in the air and was just a tank and rock in the back just to dominate the midfield. The other two viewers wanted to see a Patrick Vieira build. So I decided to mesh those requests together, and since Patrick Vieira is already 6'4" in real life, I decided to make this build 6'2", which is still pretty tall for a center mid. Why I went for 6'2" rather than 6'4" is because of pace reasons. Just get that extra pace, and on Patrick Vieira's cards, he usually has a decent amount of pace for a tall center mid. So we wanted to bump that up a bit, and it's just good for pro clubs, especially Division 1 pro clubs with all the fast, small, sweaty people. So you got to be able to try and compete with pace a little bit. But if y'all haven't heard of Patrick Vieira, he is an icon on Ultimate Team. He's got 4 different cards. He is retired. He was most famous for when he played for Arsenal, especially I think it was like 02 to 04 was like the Arsenal Invincibles, where they went somewhere around there, where they went undefeated in the Premier League. All 38 games or something like that. They tied like 11 games, but like the rest of the 20 games, they ended up winning. They never lost a game in the Premier League, and I believe that might be the first time that's happened. Yeah, I think that's the first time that's ever happened in the Premier League, which is why they got the name the Arsenal Invincibles. They were an absolute beast, and I believe Patrick Vieira was also the captain of that team too, and he was a rock in the midfield holding it down. So that's what I kind of went for when I made this build. I wanted to make a pretty well-rounded build, but also get that defense up for a center mid to make it more realistic like him, get some pretty good physical, and you'll see what I went for once we go to the skill tree. Just make sure when you're on this body page that you're on 6'2", 149 pounds, and I'm on the low side of 6'2", I'm not on the high side. So if you're on this page, make sure you're on the low side of 6'2", and then go for 149 pounds, and you'll be good to go. And now we can head over to the skill tree. Alright guys, so over here on this Patrick Vieira playstyle screen, as you guys can see, we're listed as a center mid, 6'2", 149 pounds, and right-footed. Our overall is an 88 overall. For some of y'all, it could be less. For some, it could be higher, just depending on how many games y'all played. You could have played more than me, you could have played less than me, so it kind of just depends. Or most of y'all might just have the exact same rating as me. Going over to the skill tree, we're going to start with the physical page first. I'm looking at Patrick Vieira's 88 rated center mid card. It's his mid icon card, and also a little bit at his 91 rated center mid card also. But his 88 rated card, since it is 88 rated and this build is 88 rated, it's pretty good comparison. But on the physical page, he had a lot of strength. Physical is like his highest section out of anything on his cards. So we at least try to get 80 strength. As a center mid, even if you make them tall, they really don't have much strength, like base stats. Like we can look. Base stats as a 6'2", 149 pound center mid is 72 strength, which I think is absolutely woeful. It should be higher for base stats, especially for a tall center mid. I know we're only 149 pounds, but still, even if you bump it up to 174, the strength goes up maybe like 1 or 2. So it's kind of dumb to me, but we decided we really needed to spread skill points out for this build, so we decided not to go for this last kangaroo, the jumping focus, which would give us 2 extra jumping and 1 extra strength. I decided that 1 extra strength wasn't too important. Maybe that +2 jumping would help you win even more headers, but I really wanted that 80 strength mark, since on his 88 rated card, he has 89 strength, something we're not going to be able to touch as a center mid. It's not possible. Maybe if we made like a CDM or right back, it would be able to compete with his physical stats, but we're just going to have to settle for the 80 strength, which is still pretty good, especially for pro clubs with all the little guys running around. And on this right section, I went for the second wind. Like I say in all my videos, if you are an innie, I would suggest taking off the second wind. You don't really need it. And if you really don't care about this extra jumping, you could probably even take this off too. I don't think your guy will get very tired unless you're running constant pressure settings the whole time. But you're not going to be controlling your guy very much as an innie. So I would suggest taking off second wind. At least taking this off and adding it more, maybe to this, add more jumping and more strength, like I said, or just adding it to something further down the skill tree, which you'll be able to see what you can do. But that's going to be it for the physical side of things. This build is actually very good for bodying people out, especially those little dudes. When you get in their body and shoulder to shoulder, you should be able to win those shoulder to shoulder 50-50s every single time with this build, just because of the body type and the 80 strength. you should be able to win those for sure. So don't worry about that. And now moving on to the defending section, which is very important for a Vieira build. We went for the full max out defensive stats on Vieira because that is his second highest stat section out of all of his cards behind physical. Looking at his 88 rated card, he has 90 interceptions. The highest we could get as a center mid that is 6'2", 149 is 88 interceptions. So that's actually pretty freaking close. And we had to bump it up, all the defensive things up, which I don't think I've ever made a build with every single defensive skill point added. This might be my first time ever. So we have 88 interceptions. He's got 83 defensive awareness. We can't do anything about that. 75 defensive awareness is the default for a center mid, which is kind of trash. I wish I could at least be 80, but that's all right. 90 stand tackling. We're going to have to settle for 85. Again, this is the max defense for a center mid. So we're going to have to settle for 85. It's actually very, very freaking good. I want a ton of tackles. Like, I would have like plus 10 possession ones, 5 or 6 tackles a game when I was using this build. What's the other? Interceptions, 4 or 5 interceptions a game. Interceptions were actually very good because since you're tall and lanky, you got that reach to intercept the ball, and then that's your highest stat of 88 interceptions. So interceptions are extremely good with this build. You'll catch some people off guard that trying to pass the ball around you. You should be able to reach your legs out and intercept that automatically. But the stand tackle is also extremely good. His stand tackle on his icon card is higher than his slide tackle. So we went for that as well. We went for the 85 stand tackle, 82 slide tackle. He actually has an 83 slide tackle, so we're only one off there in that category. He has 5 more stand tackle than us, but we can't do anything about that. But for pro clubs as a center mid, these are actually really freaking good defensive stats, even though it might not look like it. Yeah, I was getting a lot of tackles. I'll try and put in the clips like a lot of the tackles I've made. I'll see if I can find them. There should be a ton. So I'm going to have those, and y'all see like the physicality of this build, the height, the long legs, all going into play when making tackles, sliding, intercepting, and all that good stuff. So yeah, if you're gonna be using this build, you're gonna want to be tracking back on defense and playing more of a center mid role, center mid holding mid role rather than more of a box to box, since this really isn't a box to box build. So just remember, as y'all are using this build, to have that defensive mindset and make sure you're not getting countered, because that's like the main thing in pro clubs pretty much every year, but especially this year. Countering is absolutely insane, just with like the 99 pace small forwards you can get, and then just one through ball sends them through, and then they're one-on-one with the goalie. It's really stupid in my opinion, but you playing back a little bit could help prevent those easy counter goals that the other team can get. So that's going to be it for the defensive section, and now we're going to move on to dribbling, and I believe this is actually the section with the most skill points added, since 20 skill points for full defense. It might be the most, I'm not too sure. Actually, this is probably more. 20 also. So yeah, a good amount of skill points for physical and defending on this build, which is reasonable because that is his 2 highest stats on all of his cards, is physical and defending. So we wanted to bump those up pretty much max almost, except for this jumping focus. All right, so moving on to the dribbling section now. We have a decent amount on dribbling. Patrick Vieira on Ultimate Team only has 3-star skills, 3-star weak foot. So that's pretty dead, but it really doesn't matter for a holding mid build, a more defensive center mid build rather than an attacking mid. But I decided, y'all know how I like to go with 5-star skills on pretty much every single build, even my midfielder builds that have like 3-star skills, like on FIFA. I still like to put 5-star skills on them. I wasn't able to do that with this build. I wanted to spread out the skill points, so I only went for 4-star skills. Again, if y'all don't even want to go for 4-star and make it more realistic and go for 3-star, y'all could do that and save some skill points. But what I would suggest is like even taking off this extra dribbling, I would keep these and then maybe add this one, because this is only 2 skill points for plus 3 dribbling stats, and these are 1 skill point each for only 1 dribbling stat each. So that's kind of a waste. You might as well go for that if you're not going to have the skill points. And then you have 89 dribbling, 89 ball control, which is actually better than what I have in the first place, because I go like this. Yeah, 88 ball control. If you don't want those 4-star skills and are really going to be using this build more defensively, I would suggest doing that, something like that, and then you have 6 skill points to work with and you can add more to physical and then add more just on like further along the skill tree, maybe shooting or passing, since we don't have too much on those two sections. But again, I went with the flare trait and the 4-star skills because I love the flare trait. I think it's important on pretty much any position you play other than like center back or goalie or maybe outside back. But even as a center mid, since you're going to be getting swarmed and pressed from all different directions, a flare trait can be very helpful for just helping you pass the ball in any direction in any situation, really. So that's why I went for the flare trait and the 4-star skills, and I'm just a skiller in general, so I really wanted the 4-star skills, even though he only has 3-star skills. But we didn't, on this left side, we didn't go for this balance right here that gives you +2 balance and this 4 or 5-star skill move, obviously, since we went for 4. But if you have some extra skill points, like I said, if you want to take off the flare and the skills, you could add it to balance also. It just looks like in most of his cards, he has a little bit higher agility than balance. On all of his cards, he actually has like less. His highest rated card is 92, which is absolutely insane. Has only 76 agility, 71 balance. So we already have more agility and balance on this build than he has on all of his cards. So that's pretty solid, and that's going to be it for the dribbling section, and now we're going to be moving on to passing. Over here on the passing section, we really don't have that much, basically because center mids already have really good base passing stats, and we needed to spread those skill points around like I said earlier. Since we have 89 long passing, and that's already very good, we wanted to bump up the short passing to get that a little bit closer. So what we could do, or really all we could do with these extra skill points, is add those to short passing and get that up to 87 long pass, 89 long pass, 87 short pass, with 82 curve, pretty good for a 6'2 midfielder, 81 crossing, and 91 vision, which is actually crazy. That's the best stat. I've noticed as a midfielder, the taller you are, the more vision you have. Like if this was like a 5'10 midfielder or like 5'8, they would probably have 90 vision or maybe even 89 vision if you go even shorter. I found that interesting. When you make them a taller build as a midfielder, and maybe even as a cam also, they have better vision. So that's pretty cool. And that's going to be it for the passing section. Comparing his passing stats, he has... on his 88 rated card, his passing stats are 87 vision, so we're better than that. 87 short pass, we have exactly that. And then he has 85 long pass, which the base stats are already better at 89, so we can't do anything about that. And we would all rather have better passing stats anyways, so that's what we're going to go for. And then on the shooting section, which we don't have anything listed, as you guys can see, he does have a 3-star weak foot, so I decided to keep that pretty realistic and go for that and to not add anything on the shooting. But again, like I said, if you don't want the flare or this extra skills, take this off. You don't even have to add this if you really don't want to. But I would suggest doing that. You could add it to more long passing, get that up to 88. Add it up to short passing, get that up to 88. You could add it to more long passing if you really wanted to, not necessary. But maybe you want to increase the shot power because he has 77 shot power. We only have 75, so you really could do this and get that up to 77 shot power. But comparing his 88 rated card, he has 74 finishing, 74 tap positioning, 75 finishing. So we already have better finishing. He has 77 shot power. Again, if you want to add this, you can get that exact shot power, and then there you go. 78 long shots. We have 89 long shots. As a midfielder, their base long shots are already freaking crazy. He has 65 volleys. We have 80 volleys. As you guys can see, like his shooting is his lowest stat on all of his cards. So that's why we're focusing more as like a holding midfielder, more of a defensive center mid rather than a box-to-box or an attacking center mid with this build. I decided not to go for anything on shooting, but like I said, if you have those extra skill points and you don't want to go for some of the things that I went for, definitely go for it and add some to shooting or passing. But yeah, all of our shooting stats are better than his except for the shot power and the heading accuracy. He has 80 heading accuracy and the power header trait, which I forgot to mention. Patrick Vieira does have the power header trait, but it's just so much skill points. Like all this skill points, and you have to get this stuff right here. You don't have to get this one, but you have to get all this just to get the power hitter, which I think is like probably 15, 16 points. So it's just really not possible. But this is going to be it for the shooting section, guys, now. And now we're moving on to the last section, which I think is probably the most skill points. Yeah, 40 skill points. Because you are a tall center mid, so you are naturally going to be slow since their base stats are pretty freaking slow. we decided to go for the max pace, and on his 88 rated card, he actually has 85 pace, which is something we can't even get to. And like I said, he's 6'4". So if we went 6'4", we would have only like 80, 81 pace. So that's why I decided not to go for 6'4", and I decided to go for 6'2" instead, just so we can match that pace a little bit more. But on his higher rated card, his 91 rated card, his prime icon card, his pace actually gets downgraded to 83 instead of 85. So he has 85 acceleration, 82 sprint speed. So we're kind of matching it a little bit with his 91 rated center mid card, his pace. He has 85 acceleration, 82 sprint speed. I decided to go for the 83 acceleration, 83 sprint speed. The only thing that'll change that is if you change the weight. Like if you put it above 149, you would have more sprint speed than acceleration, like this. And then if you put it below 124 or 119 or below, it will have more acceleration than sprint speed. So it's really up to you, but then again, it'll change other stats. Like you won't have that 80 strength mark like I have. So that's why I went for the balanced method and went for 149, which will give us a good balance of 83 acceleration and 83 sprint speed, which isn't too bad. Some of y'all might want the 174 weight, bump it up a little bit so you can have a little bit more sprint speed, since you can track people down, but you'll have a little bit less acceleration. I decided to go for 83. It wasn't too bad. Like, you're obviously not the fastest, but since you are pretty tall, it seems like you run pretty fast, even though your pace stats don't really say that you're very fast. But this is going to be it for this Patrick Vieira center mid build, guys. Let me know what y'all think of it if y'all do try it out in the comments. If y'all haven't subscribed to my channel yet, could y'all please do that now? And if y'all haven't liked this video yet either, could y'all also do that as well? Thank you guys for watching this video. Y'all have a great rest of y'all's day, and peace out.